Well, as you know, at this time, as always, when we start our slot, we energetically switch to the front. We have Ihor Yaremenko with us from the headquarters of the Artillery Reconnaissance Battalion, a separate artillery brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. Mr. Ihor, welcome.
Wishing you strength and steadfastness.
Well, first of all, it's no secret that you are in one of the hottest spots. We discussed this with the military expert. It's Pokrovsk. So the first question, as always, consists of two parts. The first part, what's happening, what do you see, and what is the intensity of the fighting? And right away, to make our conversation more effective, there's this QR code that viewers can see for donations. What are you raising funds for? And is there any way we can help you and the fighters who are holding the line in Pokrovsk?
As for the fundraising, we are collecting for the needs of the division, specifically for repairs of electrical equipment such as generators, power stations, and Starlinks. These are some of the main needs that they are constant because energy problems exist not only in big cities, but also on the front line. All our equipment runs on electricity, so this equipment operates 24/7 and constantly requires maintenance and repairs. Plus, let's not forget that we're on the front line. There are constant strikes from both artillery and enemy FPV drones. That's why the equipment constantly needs repairs, which is basically what we do and maintain. Returning to the question about Pokrovsk, the situation is difficult and tense in any case because the enemy has concentrated a very large number of personnel and is constantly deploying armored groups for massive assaults with the support of these armored groups. I think all of you have seen this. Recently, the 1st Corps of the National Guard, Azov, posted a video showing an enemy column perfectly clearly. It was completely destroyed. These are not isolated incidents. The enemy is constantly trying to amass forces and advance through the city. But let's not forget the defense forces are working and plans are being made. Putin has long declared his intention to capture both Pokrovsk and Kupiansk. And we all saw very well what happened with Kupiansk when our president filmed a wonderful video right next to the city sign, which was quite a slap in the face. To the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Federation, so Pokrovsk, the situation is difficult, but the defense forces, together with the special services and the Marines, are coping, holding on, and will continue to hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Ihor. I want to once again address our incredible people who heard the information and have already started the collection. Please, let's join in. Let's help this unit.
This is what we can and must do for the guys in Pokrovsk. Quickly, please. Artillery. We hear this word less and less, and more is being said about drones. Nevertheless, as far as I understand, no one at the front has forgotten about artillery. What is its role now, and your role as the eyes of the artillery, especially in these almost urban battles?
Undoubtedly, the whole war is turning into a technological one because drones are causing a lot of trouble. They are quite difficult to fight against because technology is advancing. But most importantly, artillery has never stopped and has never taken a back seat, since artillery is the main firepower of our defense forces, and as practice has shown, it is also the main strength of the Russian Federation. It's just that you can't capture from artillery as often beautiful videos that have already filled the internet space. But artillery is excellent at stopping enemy assaults and supporting our infantry. And to be honest, when artillery shells start exploding near an assault group, it is above all extremely demotivating for the assault teams. It confuses them, which in principle has always been the case. So, honestly, from my point of view, artillery has always been and still remains the gods of war. FPV and drones of various types are gaining momentum, but no one is forgetting about artillery. That's why artillery is a significant argument for stopping the enemy's advance. The enemy. And
what about the rotor? The enemy? We remember at the beginning they were unleashing massive barrages and trying to crush everything. Do they still have those capabilities? Do they have enough ammunition to keep pressing like that?
Here, the problem isn't even about the bombs anymore. If before, well, in 2023 to 2024, at the beginning the enemy still used the tactic of battery. They would line up battle formations right in the middle of the field. But now the situation has changed significantly. Now the artillery is digging in, fortifying itself, because strike drones, above all, are the main problem for artillery. And now, basically, our defense forces are using the same tactics because everything is dug in, everything is covered, and as well camouflaged as possible. That's why it's very difficult for enemy strike UAVs to take out the artillery. So there isn't less artillery, but given that it's now impossible to deploy it in battle formations with 20 guns in one field, the relative amount of artillery has decreased. But as practice has shown, during every assault, the enemy still uses artillery from all barrels. Serious firepower. Our artillery does an excellent job in counter-battery warfare, and a lot of enemy guns are destroyed or damaged, which forces the enemy to withdraw these guns. Then all our available means are used to catch and destroy the enemy as they retreat, to finish them off, as they say. Because the enemy still has plenty of Soviet stockpiles. We all know very well that the People's Republic of China continues to supply ammunition, as does the DPRK. North Korea is also involved in this. Therefore, in principle, the enemy unfortunately still has enough ammunition stockpiles at this stage. Yes, indeed, they are certainly running out, but at this particular stage, it is still quite a considerably significant and formidable force, truly.
Thank you, Mr. Ihor. And I want to remind all viewers about the QR code. There is an account. They will remain on YouTube, please. The guys are working tirelessly, the guys are working effectively, and you can contribute to the success of their work. And perhaps you should do so. Please join in. Ihor Yaremenko from the headquarters of the Artillery Reconnaissance Division of the Separate Artillery Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, from the Pokrovsk direction. Thank you, Mr. Ihor. Take care of yourself. We'll return to the news in just a minute.
Trucks are not being allowed onto the bridge over the Dniester on the Odessa-Hrebeny highway. Passenger car traffic is also restricted there. 2 border checkpoints with Moldova near the village of Palanka have suspended operations for drivers and travelers. It is recommended to use other crossing points, in particular to travel via Mohyliv, Podilsky. The enemy is trying to destroy the bridges and cut off the south of the region from the center. The day before, both during the day and at night, the Russians deliberately attacked the crossing with drones and ballistic missiles. During the strike, a 43-year-old female driver and 3 children were killed. Doctors hospitalized them. At the same time, the Russians continue to destroy the energy infrastructure of the region. A nighttime strike once again left the large residential district of Odessa without power. 65,000 Odessa residents were left without electricity, water, and heat. People who a week ago were lining up at water kiosks for drinking water now receive technical water delivered by tank trucks. The enemy used drones, missiles, and artillery for attacks on Ukraine. The occupiers carried out an airstrike on the village of Blahodativka in the Kharkiv region. A 22-year-old man was killed. 5 more people were injured. A resident of Osinovi also did not survive the shelling, and in the Borivska community 2 people were injured when a drone struck. Guided aerial bombs were launched at Zaporizhia. 7 people were injured by the explosions, including a child. They suffered acoustic trauma and acute conditions, a reaction to stress. Several families have been left homeless. Since morning, the Russians have been shelling Kherson with artillery. There was a massive strike on residential buildings in the city center. Later, they shelled 3 more districts, destroying homes and infrastructure. Rescuers freed a woman from a partially destroyed home. Also, in these regions, a 15-year-old teenager was injured in the shelling. He suffered a concussion and blast injuries. 4 more city residents sustained shrapnel wounds. A 21-year-old man was wounded in Chernihiv region when the Russians struck a residential area of Novorod-Siversky with a drone. About 10 houses, cars, outbuildings, and a state emergency service building were damaged. In Hlukhiv-Sumy region, the Russians destroyed a school, administrative buildings, and residential homes. In Shostka, 2 enterprises were hit, and in the Druzhbivska community, the occupiers damaged a Ukrposhta service vehicle and a civilian infrastructure facility. Here, by the sounds, people have learned to distinguish between different weapons and their calibers, and they know where it's safer to hide and how to move through the streets over which drones are constantly hovering. Vishcha Tarasivka in the Nikopol district is located on the shore of the former reservoir. On the other side, just about 10 kilometers away, the occupiers have already entrenched themselves in Enerhodar. For almost 4 years, people here have been under daily shelling and have long been without communication, water, or pharmacies. Despite this, about 1,000 residents remain in the village. TSN correspondent Anastasia Nevirna saw how they survive.
The once crowded village is becoming emptier with each passing day. Locals try not to leave their houses unless absolutely necessary. Every day, Oshchitrasivka is attacked by dozens of FPV drones, artillery, and grads.
Shelling drones every day, every single day. And here it is written 3 drones will fly in. One of them, the one that destroyed a house here yesterday. Well, that's how we live. We tremble, run to the cellar, hide. Last night the grads were firing. We also ran to the cellar.
Ms. Natalia and Lyudmila went out shopping while it was quiet. They say it only happens for a few hours a day here. It's especially frightening when the drones go out hunting.
And on scooters, they also chase after them and after cars too. Here you are standing so bravely and all that. Park your car somewhere under the trees, because in just 3 seconds they fly by very quickly.
The women themselves, even though they live in battered houses, they aren't planning to leave. They say they don't know where to go. And they're afraid they won't have enough money.
It's hard to leave this place. The bakery is working, Ukroposhta is working, the village council is working, and the shops are slowly operating. There are still places to buy things.
She has thought about leaving several times, but work and responsibility keep her here. Ms. Natalia is here. She is in charge of the post office. She says she can't abandon people to...
They are compelled to independently manage their own survival and well-being, relying entirely on their individual capabilities and resources to navigate challenges, secure necessities, and overcome obstacles without any external assistance or support.